Today I am going to take the first class of ACC course 2, which is Indian Official Statistics, and this is not the general subject of statistics where you learn different statistical methods and how to solve problems of different empirical problems. In this paper, it is a different kind of thing. I would like to give you the information about the official statistics, especially in case of India. Okay. So, now what is official statistics? During the 16th and 17th century, statistics were a method for counting and listing population and state resources. Suppose in a country government is doing a lot of things. It is taking different policies and implicating all these measures on the citizens of that country. Now one would like to understand what are the effects, to what extent the government has been able to target these areas wherever it has taken some steps. So in order to do that, we need to analyze the actual magnitudes of the works of government, and for this purpose we need to get the data. We need to get the numerical information about different activities of the government, or about different characteristics of the population of that country, from where we can find out different social, economic and different kinds of demographic problems of the citizens of that country. So in order to do that, we need to get some data and then analyze the data. So whenever we take some data and we count that data, we list them according to some method that is called statistics, and that started from 16th and 17th century. So what is official statistics? Whatever officially published in any country as statistical data can be called official statistics. So official statistics are statistics published by government agencies or other public bodies such as international organizations as a public good. You should remember that this kind of statistical data is provided by the government to the citizens as public good. So any member of that country can access that data and can analyze that data and find out whatever he is trying to analyze. Okay. So it is a public good, and this kind of data provide quantitative and qualitative information on all the major areas of the citizens' lives, such as economic data, social development, living conditions, health, education, environment. In each area, if you need to get the information, if you need to access the information, you should go for the official statistics. So the governmental agencies at all levels, including panchayat, municipality, state administrations, state governments, that is state governments, and the central government, all kinds of levels of the government can actually generate and disseminate the official statistics. So almost every country in the world has one or more government agencies. So usually they are the national institutes that supply the decision makers and other users, including the general public and the research community, with continuing flow of information. This bulk of data is usually called official statistics. So who are these people? Who are the people? Those who are from the demand side for the official statistical data. They are actually general people. People may be interested to know what is going on in their lives, to what extent the government has been able to satisfy them, how much steps the government is taking for their development. This kind of thing actually relates to the statistical information. So any citizen can access this official statistics. And another kind of people, they are researchers. They actually use these official statistical data, analyze them by using different econometric methods, and then find out some conclusions that whether the government has been able to reach their target, or the government has not been able to reach the target. This kind of researchers, they also are the major people, are the major portion of that people who are actually demanding the official statistical data set. So this bulk data set obviously is called the official statistics. So official statistics result from the collection and processing of data into statistical information by the government institution or the international institution that I have already mentioned. Now the first step of the formation of the official statistics is the collection of the data. So the data should be collected through some surveys, and then after collecting that data, the data should be processed. So the data should be processed and formalized, and then whatever statistical information the government is trying to give to the people, according to that area, the data will be processed. So, and then who will process this data? Either the government institution of that country or any international organization. They can also come to that country and then survey and then collect the data and then process the data, and they can also do the method of preparation of the official statistical data. They are then disseminated to help the users develop their knowledge about a particular topic or geographical area and make comparisons between countries and understand changes over time. So when the data set is processed and then that data set is disseminated in order to help the users which I have already mentioned, that general people or the researchers or any person from the government, they are actually the users. So this disseminated data set will be used by these users, and so the users may be interested in a particular topic, or users may be interested in a particular geographical area. Then they would like to compare between different geographical areas. Suppose they would like to compare between different states within a certain country, or across different countries, or across different districts within a particular state, any kind of geographical location, and that data set should be comparable. Data set fixed for each and every unit should be comparable across each other. So in this way, the first step is like that. Then official statistics actually make information on economic and social development accessible to the public, allowing the impact of government policies to be assessed, thus improving accountability. So what is the purpose of this preparation of this official statistical data? It actually tries to give the information about the economic and social development of that country, and that information should be accessible to general people, so that general people can actually measure or assess the impact of government's policies, whether the government has been successful, whether the government has not been successful, and then after analyzing that, the government they can also give some policy prescriptions to the government, and the government is always accountable for that. So official statistics actually, in a nutshell, provide a picture of the country or different phenomena through data and images such as graphs and maps. So official statistics does provide a picture, in a nutshell, what the activities look like. Not always in numbers, sometimes in picture format, in graphs and in maps, etc. So statistical information covers different subject areas. From different subject areas, different backgrounds, people come and use these official statistics. So they come from economics, they come from demographic studies, they come from sociology. So economic problems, sociological problems, demographical problems, all the indicators of economics, demographic and social indicators, everything is measured and disseminated in the form of data set through the official statistics. So official statistics are collected and produced by national statistical organizations, which is called NSO, or other organizations like the central banks of each and every country. We have our central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India, that form part of the national statistical system in countries where statistical production is decentralized. Our country is following a federal structure, so all the administrative powers are actually divided between the center and the states. So there are some central agencies, there are some state level agencies. Many agencies can actually take part in collection and production of the national statistics, and together all of them taken together will be called, will come under the umbrella of National Statistical Organization, that is NSO. Now talking about the quality of the official statistics. The quality in the context of official statistics is a multifaceted concept, consisting of components such as relevance, completeness, timeliness, accuracy, accessibility, clarity, cost efficiency, transparency, comparability, and coherence. So I would like to explain each and every terminology I have used. So the data should be relevant. It should be regarding the problems which is relevant for that country, which is according to the time which is relevant. Okay, and data should be complete. So there is no place for incomplete analysis. So at a certain point of time, all the information should be there within that official statistical publication. Timeliness, it should be published according to time. Suppose we are thinking about analyzing the problem of the employment or unemployment of the workers during the time period 2019 to 20. Now if the data set is published after 2020 or after 2021 to 22, so 2 or 3 years will pass by. So there will be no longer any relevance of that analysis if the time is much delayed, the time of publication is much delayed. So it should be published in proper time. Maximum 1 year or 2 year extension can be allowed, but after that there will be no, that data set, that old data set which comes out after 2 or 3 years delay, suppose 2 or 3 years delay, so there is no longer any relevance of that data set. So that should be kept in mind by the National Statistical Organization, that the data set should be published in particular in a correct time. So data should be accurate, there should be no place of any inaccurate data set. It should be accessible to everybody. Now up to a certain point of time in India, all the data sets, you know, were not accessible to everybody. They were actually purchasable. So you can go through the catalog and then you can order them and then you should purchase. But right now for the last 3 or 4 years, the data set has been completely free of cost, accessible to everybody in the particular websites of that Government of India. So it should be accessible. It should, every clarification will be there for each and every terminology used by the statistical organization in those publications. So there should be some clarity, cost efficient, it should be the collection, the whole process of collection and then processing, then publication of that official statistics should be cost effective. Otherwise, if the cost is too much large, then that is not viable for the government to continue with that extravagant exercise year after year. So therefore, it should be cost effective. It should be transparent, so there should be no no hiding of any fact from the public. Public needs transparency. So if there is high unemployment, if government has not been so much effective, the policies have not been so much effective, then that should also be reflected through the analysis of the data set. And if that is not there, so then the government will be accountable for that mistake. So then there should be comparability. So now suppose you are trying to compare the net growth rate of net state domestic product between different states. So the data set, the measurement of that net state domestic product should be comparable from state to state or across the countries. So always, in order to make it comparable with the same indicators taken from other countries, the National Statistical Organization should follow some internationally accepted definitions, internationally accepted procedures, so that the data is at par with the other countries, and then that data is comparable. Because if there is no place of comparability, then there is no use for that data set. In order to do empirical research, in order to find out what is our government doing in comparison to the governments of the other countries, the data must be comparable. So comparability is another quality that should be there in the official statistics, and it should be coherent. It should be coherent. So all these features should be there in official statistics. So what are the core tasks of the National Statistical Organizations? For both the centralized and decentralized systems, the tasks are determining user needs. The government should find out what is the actual need for the users. Users may be from the corporate sector, users may be from government, users may be from press, users may be from ordinary people, and users may be the researchers. Government should find out what these users are actually trying to know, what is their need. So analyze the needs of the users and determining, and then filtering these for relevance. So the data which has been taken through the survey, the government should filter it, the National Statistical Organization should filter it according to the needs of the users and then disseminate it. Okay. So then they transform the relevant user needs into measurable concepts. The concepts must be measurable. If you cannot measure these concepts, there is no use of this data set. So the concepts must be measurable to facilitate the data collection and dissemination. So I have already discussed about who are these users, but still I will discuss about them in a brief detail. Okay. So official statistics are intended for a wide range of users, including the central and local government, the research institutions, the professional statisticians, the journalists, the media, the businesses, the educational institutions, and last but not the least, the general public. Everybody has the power to go through the official statistics and to use them according to their needs. There are three types of users. We can classify these users into three broad types. Okay. So those with the general interest, those with the business interest, or those with the research interest. Each of these user groups has different needs for the statistical information. Now users with the general interest include the media, the schools, the general public. They use official statistics in order to be informed. They just need to be informed on a particular topic. Suppose they need to be informed about the progress of the education during this COVID period. What happened to the general education during this COVID period? Newspaper agencies may need this information. General public, who are the parents of the children, school going children, they might be needing it. So this kind of particular, according to some particular topic, they might need some information. To observe the trends, okay, within the society of a local area, of a country, of a region of the world, okay. So these are the first type of users who have the general needs. And then second kind of users are users with a business interest. They are actually decision makers and users with a particular interest for which they want more detailed information. Okay. So for them, official statistics are an important reference, providing information on the phenomena or circumstances of their own work that they are focusing on. As with the business interest users, this group does not usually have a good understanding of statistical methodologies, but they need more detailed information than the general users. So they are the corporate sector people. Suppose a person is launching a particular product in the market. Now before launching that product, he would like to understand what are the trends of demand for the people within that country. So this businessman, this entrepreneur may go through the statistical data set and find out the trend of the consumer's demand on this area, on this broad area of the commodity he is going to launch. So he is particularly interested, suppose a different kind of mobile phone set. So what is the demand for the public? When the Apple company, they launched their first touch phone, they actually analyzed the trend of the consumer's demand, and then they saw that user-friendly machines are welcome always. So then they invented, they made that innovation of the touch phones, and which created, rest of the thing is history. I need not mention about the progress of touch phones throughout the world. So in this way, corporate sector always needs a separate, particular, detailed kind of information, more detailed information than which the general people need. So detailed kind of information, but they, remember, they are not statistical, methodologically, knowledgeable persons. They do not know about the techniques of statistics, but they are interested in the detailed information of that particular area. Okay. So this is the business interest user group. And the third kind of people are the users with the research interest, the people like us. Okay. So people from universities, the consultants, the government agencies, they generally understand something about statistical methodology. We, the researchers, we understand about the statistical methodology. We are trained in that. So we can get the data set, and we are trained how to analyze them, that data set, and how to find out how to apply different econometric techniques or statistical techniques and find out some results, and then analyze the results to criticize or to find out whether the government has been able to government has been successfully launched taken some policies, suppose the poverty eradication program or employment generation program, etc., many things. So these kind of people, they are actually technically experts. So in this field, official statistics are also used to assess the government's policies. I have already mentioned that. So what are the main methods of collecting the official statistics? When first of all, I would like to discuss about the census method. Census method, when the data collector or investigator collects data or information about each and every item in the population and other related areas, it is known as census method. So you have to remember one thing, that in case of census method, the whole population will be covered. Nobody will be skipped. So that is why each and every item in the population and other related areas, they will be asked, they will given the questionnaire or something like that, they will be questioned, and the information will be collected from them, and then that will be processed and all that. So all these things are actually fall within the census method. If a survey covers the 100% of the population, it is called a census method. In other words, here each and every item or unit constituting the entire population, that is called universe, is selected for statistical inquiry. Universe does not mean the whole world or the whole universe in that sense. Universe means here in which area I am trying to collect the data and prepare the statistical data using the census method, I will take the whole population from that aspect. Okay. For example, I may be interested to find out the birth rate or death rate of the children. So I will take the information about all the children within this country. No children will be skipped. So in this way, this is called taking into account the 100% of the population. Suppose I am talking about the suffering of the people, urban people during the urban population during the COVID period. So I will take the information of all the urban people, each and every urban person will be questioned if I am following the census method. But obviously within this universe of urban population, there will be no person who is residing in the rural areas. So rural areas do not fall within this universe. This universe consists of only the urban population. So in this way. So what are the merits of census method? Firstly, for an extensive study, however expensive it may be, this method is considered to be the ideal one. For example, in the population census, we obtain quite a large number of key information such as birth rate, death rate, infant mortality rate, literacy rate, ratio of the urban-rural population, trend on urbanization, and so on and so forth. Many things can be measured through it. Many kind of information can be taken in this. I am intending to do an extensive study, and for that this is the first choice, to follow the census method. Secondly, accuracy in the results is obtained. If the data are collected through the census method, since I am taking the whole population, then I will get the results which are the population results, that is actual results. So that is why obviously the data set is accurate and data set is reliable. Okay. So because I am not skipping any single informant. Okay. So but obviously there are some demerits of the census method. What are these demerits? Firstly, being expensive in nature, it is very, very expensive to cover the whole population. So being expensive in nature, the complete enumeration method is much expensive, since a considerable amount of money and labor are demanded and involved. So this is an extensive process. You have to take into account the information of each and every participant within this population. So that method is extensive, and when the method is extensive, it obviously becomes expensive also to carry out, because you have to pay the remuneration of the surveyors, and this will take a long time to collect this data set. So you have to pay them for a long time. So in a nutshell, it's going to be obviously very, very expensive. Okay, and also considerable amount of time and labor, everything is demanded. Secondly, the method is often not feasible or practicable, because the concept of the universe is hypothetical. What will be included and what will be excluded, that is a bit ambiguous, and that will vary from person to person. So universe is the basis of that data collection in census method. So its applicability is very much limited because the collection of the information of the whole universe cannot be done in each year. So in our country, the data set of population census comes out after each 10 years. So you can understand that when it comes out, the data set of 10 years for the 10 years ahead of that publication of that particular census report, there will be no report for us for these years, the incoming years of that incoming 10 years. So it is a quite the gap between two publications is quite big. So that is why, so if I am trying to find out some analyze some problem and find out some results and then give the government to some policy prescriptions, I am already late because the data set has come out quite late and the data set of the prevailing period will not be there. So it is a past analysis. So that is not always very effective. So because circumstances change each and every year. So that is why it is not that much effective. And thirdly, in the census method, often a large number of non-sampling errors creep in because those people who actually act as enumerators or surveyors in census method are not that much technically efficient people. They are not given that much technical trainings. So they are the ordinary, many ordinary people, some teachers or some other people, other communities, they actually take part in census data collection and they are not efficient in that sense. So there are many kinds of human error arise. So this error is a big problem. This means that the results obtained may not be uniform. So these are the disadvantages of using the census method. Now I would like to talk about the sample survey method. Now I have already mentioned that lot of time, lot of money is needed to conduct the survey through census method. So instead of census method, the data analysts often consider a portion or a sample of the population. So the scale is now smaller. In a sample population, instead of the full survey of the population, the sample is investigated. Then we have some sample survey, that is called the sample survey method. So sample is anything less than the full survey or less than the population. The primary objective of the sample survey is to estimate some characteristics of the population from which the sample is selected. So we are actually surveying a portion of the population, so that is quite smaller, and then we are trying to find out some characteristics of the population from that sample. This method is called the method of sample survey. So what are the merits of this sample survey? Sample survey method has many advantages over the census method, and that is why this method is a more popular method than the census method. Now I can mention 4 merits of the sample survey method. Firstly, since only a part of the population is investigated under this method, it takes much less time, it needs much less money and much less labor. So this is saving in time also, since sampling inquiry requires less field work. Okay. Saving is tabulation, less field work, tabulation and data processing than the full survey method. Now for conducting the entire inquiry, although a small group of investigators or specialists, special investigators, they are paid huge amount because they are the trained people, they are the full-time employees of this National Statistical Organization, but output is much more. So that is why the expenditure per unit of the sample or per unit of the data set is quite low. So that is why it is totally advantageous compared to the census method. Secondly, conclusions and results obtained from the sample survey method are more accurate and more reliable, because there are many reasons behind that. Because fewer sample units are chosen, so they are actually given too much importance, and people are not bored while undertaking the survey. People actually use their mind and their mental intelligence, everything fully, because this is a smaller set. And above all, these people, those who are actually surveying the samples, they are sophisticated and latest, using the sophisticated and latest designed techniques. So therefore, the results are more accurate and reliable. And further, it is true that sampling errors, there are some methods through which the sampling errors can be minimized. Okay. So that is why overall the results of the sample survey are superior compared to the results of the census survey. Thirdly, the small sample data provide a good benchmark of the entire population, because the techniques that are used in case of sample survey method are the advanced techniques, because these people are trained people, they get the formal training from that their organizations, and so they can use that sophisticated technique, and as a result of that, if their data set is correctly surveyed and correctly collected, the informations are correctly collected, then the results, in most of the cases, the results are very close to the population results. And finally, from the administrative point of view, sample method is considered as an ideal, because this is less time consuming. Okay. So that is why you can go on surveying the sample in each and every year. And so this is the ideal one, and the organization as well as administration considers this process practically more convenient. Okay. Now I have discussed that different methods of collecting the data set in case of the dissemination of the official statistics. Now what are the aims and objectives of official statistics? To provide, firstly, to provide an accurate, up-to-date, comprehensive and meaningful picture of the economy and society, to support the formulation and monitoring of the economic and social policies by the government at all the levels. So it will actually give you the accurate and the up-to-date picture, the comprehensive, that is all encompassing picture, and the meaningful picture that is quite relevant for the problems that are actually prevalent within our society, within our country at a certain point of time. So if we analyze the official statistical data, then we can find out obviously some kind of trend, we can draw a picture using this data set. So that is why this is used, the results of analysis of that data set is often used by the government and by researchers, many people. Okay. So to inform the parliament and the citizen about the state of the nation and provide a window on the work and performance of the government policies and the actions to be addressed. So the government has the intention of collection and dissemination of official statistics in order to make some goodwill during his 5-year, 10-year period. So because if some political party leader or if some minister, if they go on and give some roadside corner lecture, then people would not believe in their claims. But what they will believe in the numbers, they will believe in the data set. So as a result of that, government from its own interest would actually collect and disseminate these official statistics in order to inform what the government is doing to the citizens. They are informing the citizens, they are informing in the parliament sessions, the facts and figures, or everything is coming from the analysis of the official statistics. And to provide business with a statistical service which promotes the efficient functioning of the commerce and industries. As I have already mentioned, that business sector is always interested in particular areas where they are going to, suppose where an entrepreneur is going to launch a new product in the market, so the consumer's data demand analysis, this kind of thing, so specialized detailed information. So this kind of specialized detailed information can be obtained from using the official statistics. Then to provide the researchers, the analysts and the other customers with the statistical service that assists their works and studies. So millions of students are doing their PhD analysis in subjects like humanities, in history, in geography, in statistics, in science, in economics, in commerce, several areas. So they are actually doing the empirical research using these official statistics, because this statistics is reliable, the sample set is quite big. Even if it is the sample survey, I am not talking about the census survey. If it is the census survey, then the whole population is there, and even if it is the sample survey, the sample is quite large. So the results are robust. So as a result of that, researchers would always give the first preference to this secondary data source, which is provided by the government, so which is reliable and believable. So that is why the researchers are using it. So that is another objective of the official statistics authority, that to provide the information to the researchers, the students and all the other customers, this kind of customers who are actually technically quite expert. And lastly, to promote these aims nationally and internationally and provide a statistical service that meets national and international requirements. Suppose I would like to analyze the labor force participation, progress in the labor force participation rate upon for a particular point of time, and actually compare the situation across the countries, suppose India and all its neighboring countries. So Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, all these. So international comparison is also coming out. So their governments are also providing the official statistics for their countries. And as I have already mentioned, that they are, all of the national statistical organizations, they are following certain norms, certain well accepted, universally accepted definitions, some universally accepted methodologies. So they are comparable. So we can compare among them. So this is actually going beyond the national analysis. This is actually becoming an international analysis. Okay. And now I would like to talk about the history of Indian statistical system. So up until now I have actually discussed the official statistical system of all the countries throughout the globe. Now I will talk about the Indian statistical system in particular, and firstly I will tell you the history, how the Indian statistical system has evolved since independence up to this point of time. So Indian statistical system is the system through which statistical data of the whole country and its different states are collected, analyzed and compiled. Since India is following the federal structure, so administrative responsibilities are divided. So states are also collecting data, center is also collecting data. So in 1945, the government of India set up an interdependent departmental committee with the economic advisor to the government of India as the chairman, to consider the statistical material available at that period and to make recommendations for filling up the whatever gap there was, whatever vacuum there was, filling up of that gaps, and for improvement of the existing organization. So that happened during 1945, before the independence actually. On the basis of these, the recommendations of that interdepartmental committee, the government took up certain steps. The government of India established Central Statistical Unit in 1949, which was later converted to Central Statistical Organization and Department of Statistics in 1951. And then National Income Committee was appointed in 1949 to work out a system of reliable estimation of the national income. You know, the estimation of national income is of utmost importance, because what is the position of our country globally in terms of national income? we must be interested to know that, and in order to do that we must measure national income each and every year, so that that the unit of measurement should be universally acceptable. And through this process we can compare the national incomes of different countries and find out the position of India in the whole list. Okay? So for that purpose, the National Income Committee was appointed in 1949. The National Sample Survey came into being in 1950 to collect information through sample surveys on the variety of socio-economic aspects. In 1954, a National Income Unit that was appointed in 1949, that was transferred to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, to the Central Statistical Organization. So earlier Ministry of Commerce and Industry was taking care of the National Income Unit. Then it was transferred in 1954 to Central Statistical Organization. Then in 1961, Department of Statistics was set up in the Cabinet Secretariat, and CSO, that is Central Statistical Organization, became a part of it. Then this continued for a few years, up to a decade. Then in 1972, a computer center was set up. You know, during that period of time, invention of computer has been completed and the computer has started to come in our country. So it was discovered that it is much easier to tabulate the data and to store the data in the computers in order to maintain it for a long period of time. For that purpose, the computer center was set up in 1972, and in 1973, Department of Statistics became a part of Ministry of Planning. So importance increased, as you can see. Then in 1999, Department of Statistics and Department of Program Implementation were merged and named as the Department of Statistics and Program Implementation under the Ministry of Planning and Program Implementation. So, and then in October 99, Department of Statistics and Program Implementation was declared a separate ministry, that is a Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, in short MOSPI, and you might be interested to know about the website of the MOSPI, and that I have shown in the last, this is the before the last slide, this is the MOSPI website, and from where you can get all the information about the Indian official statistics. So MOSPI was constructed in this way in October 1999. Then Indian Statistical Institute, this is another institution which is the brainchild of, you know, the famous Prashant Chandra Mahalanobis. It was actually established long before the independence. It was established in 1932 to carry out research, training, teaching and project activities. This was created in 1932, but then during 1999 and onwards, it became an important part of the official statistical system of India. So what are the main functions of statistical system in Indian institutional framework? India has a federal structure, so administrative responsibilities is divided between the center and the state, and the responsibility is listed in 3 lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. So in the concurrent list, there are some responsibilities which are jointly taken by the union and the state governments, and the subject statistics falls in the concurrent list. Therefore, the task of the statistical data compilation, correction, publication are jointly done by the union government and the state governments. And Indian population census agricultural census, livestock census, nationwide sample surveys, including the annual sample surveys and socio-economic surveys, as well as compilation of the macroeconomic aggregates like national accounts, all India price indices and industrial production are mainly central activities with substantial involvement of the state agencies in the data collection. Everything is done by the central government, and also state government takes part in this process. The state government and the state statistical organizations, they also collect and generate data in many of the areas and for a number of variables. The central government acts as the coordinating agencies for the presentation of the statistics on the all India basis, even in the fields where the states actually primarily collected the data. States have the primary authorities, but the responsibility of publication, presentation lies in the hand of the central government. So, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, MOSP, is the nodal agency for all statistical activities at all India level. So, state directorates of economics and statistics, that is DES, carry out the responsibilities of coordination of all statistical activities within the state level and keeping liaison with the MOSP for the purpose of the coordination of all India level and to maintain the norms and standards in the field of the official statistics. So, this is the brief history of Indian official statistics, and now I would like to mention some organizations that are responsible for collecting the Indian official statistics data sets both in center and the states. First of all is the Central Statistical Office, which was earlier known as Central Statistical Organization. However, the abbreviation remains the same, CSO. It has 5 divisions: National Accounts Division, Economic Statistics Division, Social Statistics Division, Industrial Statistics Wing, Training Division, and Coordination and Publication Division. All these divisions are parts of Central Statistical Office, CSO. What are the activities of CSO? CSO does the national income accounting, it conducts the annual survey of industry, it conducts the surveys of economic census and the follow-up services. They compile the index of industrial production, consumer price indices, then gender statistics. Then it imparts trainings to the official statistics to their staff. Okay, so those who are actually getting the employment in the CSO, they will get the formal training by the CSO authority. The 5-year plan works relating to development of statistics in the state and union territories. That is also done by the CSO. Now, CSO disseminates the statistic after collecting and processing all this data set. They disseminate the data set, this statistical information. Then the CSO actually works relating to trade, energy, construction and environmental statistics, and the division, and also CSO publishes the National Industrial Classification Codes. These codes are actually the detailed information about each and every activity within each industries, and according to that code we can find out what kind of activity a certain worker is doing. So this code starts from 1-digit level up to the 5-digit level, and as the number of digits increase, we are actually penetrating into deeper and deeper information, detailed information. Okay. So these things. Now I would like to talk about NSSO, National Sample Survey Office, NSSO. NSSO carries out socio-economic surveys, undertakes field works for the annual survey of industry, and follow-up services are like economic census, sample checks on an area enumeration and crop estimation service. So what are the major activities of NSSO? Survey design, field operation, processing of the data collected, and releasing the results based on the surveys. NSSO reports come out now after each 5 years. So these rounds are called quinquennial rounds. So they are also available from the MOSP website. So, and then there is the computer center which was set up later on, I have already mentioned. So, computer center actually handles the data processing jobs of MOSPI. It provides training to the statistical personnel of software maintained by the MOSPI website and the national data warehouse of the official statistics. So, all these things are done by the computer center. And then the compilation and the publication division, that is CAP, this division is responsible for the coordination of the National Statistical Office with its two attached offices, that is CSO and the NSSO, and also with the ministries, central ministries or departments of the government as well as the state governments or state statistical agencies. All of them, the coordination task is done by the compilation and the publication division. And then I will talk about the states. So, statistical system of the states, there are directorates of economics and statistics in each and every state, which is the nodal agency for that particular state for coordination of all the statistical activities within that state. And then directorates of economics and statistics perform all the same functions as the national level functions, national statistical offices, but it is confined within the state. Okay. So, bringing out the key statistics, coordination with the central and state statistical agencies, dissemination of the state level statistics, publishing the statistical abstracts and handbooks of the states. If you go to the particular state level Directorate of Economics and Statistics website, then you can find out the statistical abstracts for that state or district statistical handbooks of the states. So, these are available there. This is done by the states only. Annual economic surveys or surveys like on different kinds of socio-economic variables within that state, then district statistical abstracts, and then state budget analysis. And then states also it does the working out of estimates of state domestic product, which is very important, and the retail price index number for the state. And then it engages in such other statistical activities as is relevant to the state whenever requirement arises. So, in this way I have discussed with you all the agencies, all the institutions of the whole big Indian official statistical system from the point of view of the state and from the point of view of the central government. So, this is all about the basic idea regarding the Indian official statistics and what is actually the official statistics. It is of utmost importance for the for students from the humanities, from economics, from statistics, from geography, from history, any kind of humanities subjects, because you have to handle this data set, you have to know from where they are available, you have to find out how you can collect the data, and you have to have a solid idea about the structure and activities of this whole system. So, that is all about the first class of the ACC2, that is Indian Official Statistics for the semester 4. Thank you.